It's counting. Settings are set, hopefully.
We rolling.
We rolling. Welcome to ShiftLess, episode 148, I believe so. This is going to be our Tour Divide preview. Not going to go as deep into it as I thought we were last week, but that's okay, because this goes on for a little while. There's time to catch up on stuff.
Yeah, although they could be... I don't think the leader will be finished by Monday when we record next.
I would be shocked.
It'll be close.
They would have to be definitely setting a record pace.
300 miles out, maybe?
That I don't... I mean, what, records just under 14 days?
Oh, Robin did it in 11 and a half days or something last year.
Are you sure of that?
Let me...
You look at that. I'll talk about the rest of what we're talking. You look that up. I thought it was 13 days and something, but...
I swear.
Well, let's find out what the benchmark is. That's a good place, man.
I've been wrong many times.
We might be idiots and not know what we're talking about. But the other things we're not going to talk about, know what we're talking about, we're going to be talking Tour Divide preview. We'll give semi-accurate information at least. You sent me a picture of a rigid hardtail Scott MTB. I want to dig into that. The comment. Did you read the comments on that?
No.
Okay.
How sexy was that? And how confusing is it that they call it a gravel?
Let's talk a little. Look at that. You're going into the show already.
11 days, 19 hours, and 14 minutes.
All right. So, yeah, maybe we'll be doing a Tour Divide.
But fastest time, but ineligible for record due to reroutes.
Okay.
I think, was there fires last year?
I can't remember.
Flooding? I can't remember.
We'll figure it out between now and next week.
Yeah.
How about that? We're going to talk about that rigid hardtail Scott MTB.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another thing that caught me a little off guard, but kind of leads into it. There was a statement on the Bonk Brothers podcast that kind of had me reframe some of the things I'm thinking about what we do but what's going on in the gravel world in general.
More females?
Definitely not.
Oh, okay.
And I bit my tongue last week. We started to kind of go down this path, and it's like, because, I went about neck deep into conspiracy theories around 32 last week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel it was appropriate to go neck deep into conspiracy theories around carbs per hour.
Why would that be a conspiracy theory?
We'll talk about that in a moment.
Once again, I'm intrigued.
At the surface level. And more than likely, there is a good chance we'll talk about 32-inch wheels somewhere during the podcast.
There is a ton of 32-inch content coming from Mexico.
Interesting.
Yes.
And one kind of last-minute addition, I'll throw this in, our first feedback on our first official beta rider on the USA Trails, scouting a segment. Tour Divide veteran, so his feedback is very interesting. We'll touch on that.
Initials TN?
TN?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
No. RA. You probably don't know. But Tour Divide preview.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Robin's record last year was a non-record because of reroutes.
Yeah, it's interesting though that he is the only one that has that note next to his finish. The guy that came in second, Jens van Roost. Shit.
Who's that?
I don't know. Probably Amazon. I don't know. But they fucking smoked that hump in my driveway.
They sure did.
Hope you don't give a fuck about your car. Dang. But it's
wow.
Sorry that caught me off guard.
I was like, man, is this the end of the
they were going to come right in, run into the freaking back of the van.
Wow.
But the guy that finished second, Jens van Roost, I'm probably saying his name wrong and I apologize, but he finished in 13 days, 8 hours, and 13 minutes. But he doesn't have that same caveat next to his name, nor does anybody else. So I don't know if Robin was moving so fast that he got to a section that couldn't be navigated or what, because I do remember him gapping everybody, and I can't remember
for whatever reason
all the ins and outs.
I didn't follow it at all last year. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is it Amazon? Do we know for sure?
They do.
I mean,
oh, it's Mary. I don't know what she's doing.
Okay.
I know that woman.
Okay.
Hey, slow your ass down.
Uh,
She's coming over here. Sorry.
okay.
We're podcasting, crazy woman. Now we moved it to Monday. Okay, well, you can go through my messy ass garage.
Totally fine.
Go look at all my meat.
Oh, I am.
Go meat gaze.
I'm totally
How are you doing, stranger?
good.
Hi there.
This is my friend Kevin Lee.
Hi, I'm Mary. Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
This is our 148th podcast.
That's awesome.
We're diligent.
Dang, look at you go. Yeah, I just was out and about, and I thought, you know what? I'm right here by their house. I'm going to stop
Might smoke
by.
a hump
I
on the way in.
never- how was I to know? It's never done that
The
before.
garbage truck, it just keeps doing it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that it was going to be like that. I really
Crazy.
wasn't coming in that hot, and I was like,
Oh, yeah, you were. I was like,
Jesus.
holy shit. We thought you were just going to pull into the back of
I
the
was
van.
going like 10.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to go say hi.
Okay. Always exciting.
There's always something. And just to bring Lucy,
Lucy, cool it.
come on.
Come
This
here,
is not the Lucy episode.
Mm-mm.
The Lucy show.
Can we talk about this weather?
It's a little muggy.
But it feels so good.
Man,
Compared to 2 days ago?
I was about to say Saturday was warm, but I got a bike ride in. So
you?
yeah,
Bragger. I still haven't ridden.
we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, I know.
Just to bring everyone up to speed, yeah, weather is always a factor. So our traditional patio at Casa Verde, the cushions are wet, so we're
I
doing
let my guard down.
that's fine.
I
The
was.
van studio works in
I
a
like it.
pinch.
I like it.
I love my van.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Big fan. Big
Ye-
fan of the van.
Big fan of the van, and
Yeah.
you spend some time in here.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the tour divide.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know what to make of that, but I guess I can dig in before we go next week and
Yeah.
find out why.
Let's do a slight recap of last year's, because Robin's the guy that won
XL.
Unbound XL on the 32-inch Scott.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. All right. So let's not bury the lead. That's the biggest news for me so far from the Tour Divide. Not a single 32-inch bike in the field.
Yeah, I was pouring through the content that Bikepacking put out about, I love how analytical he gets about bike comparisons. He gets a little bit too nuanced for me and loses me when he gets into chain ring evaluation and drive trains and
It
stuff.
loses you, but there's other people that
No,
geek out over
I mean,
that.
I do appreciate it. But the one main thing that stood out to me the most of everything, and I almost mentioned this last week, and I thought, well, I don't want to bore too many people, but remember how I mentioned the long top tube bag?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tailfin also came out with a new rear rack, and I'm very interested. I've never been interested in a rear rack system, but I've been increasingly more interested.
Most of the participants in this year.
And that's what I think it flipped this year, if I recall correctly.
I think it flipped last, but it went
Last year.
solidly over
Yes.
this year.
And I thought that was very interesting that most people, the majority, call it 50% plus, are opting for a rear rack option.
I told you a
instead of
couple years ago that's what
saddlebag.
was happening.
Yeah.
You called bullshit on me.
But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. But I think even more so in a quote unquote single track aspect, just from a jostling
Mhm.
standpoint and everything. And it makes sense from a packing, unpacking standpoint too. That's the reason I've always liked my Versace, because it has that shell. You can just remove your bag. You can pack it off the bike. I used to have the one where you had to pack it on the bike or remove the whole thing. We've come a long way when it comes to bike packing gear, and I think it's only fitting in a rear rack modular system, especially with all the Lucy. She's such a monster.
She's just protecting us.
Yeah, the modular system and the fid locks and all of that, kind of migrating over. But I'm more interested in a rear rack system than I've ever been. When we did the San Juan Hut to Hut Thornton Road rear rack system, and at first I thought he was a little crazy, but then I followed him through some single track, and I was like, this makes sense,
Well, you know what took it over the top, right?
Thornton?
No.
No.
Maybe he did. Is he on a dropper post?
Yeah, and that is the play.
It's the
Yeah.
dropper pose that took it over the top.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And maybe that plays hand in hand with my reluctancy to entertain a rear rack, because I'm not a dropper post guy. You know,
I'm not either. I have one on the Tributary, and I've tried to play with it from time, and I'm so used to not riding without one.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a bike since I was like 3 years old. Dropper posts are like maybe 10 years old.
I mean, I get it in a gravity situation.
Oh yeah.
Because when I used to go to the mountains, I'd get to the top of the mountain, drop the seat post manually, and crash down it literally.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, but even on my big hit bike that does have a dropper, when I would do downhill runs and lift runs and stuff, I would have to remind myself, I'm not programmed to run it,
Sure.
And I would be behind people and I would see them drop their post. I'm like, oh, man, I should drop my post, visual cue here,
I think it may end up kind of being a theme of today's episode. We're going to probably get into a few realms of get off my lawn territory, old man yelling at the clouds sort of stuff. But I was noticing on a video last week, mocking the concept of taint to tire. It's like, that was so basic back in the day. It's like, if you're going downhill, taint to tire, it's the only way to pull it off. And now it's like, oh, that's just a ridiculous way to ride a bicycle. It's like,
that was what you did.
No, I get it. I get it. And so again, I think
it seems like there's no way to ride a 32 downhill without going taint to tire.
One would think. So, but back to the hardware of the Tour Divide. Yeah, definitely the rear racks. That was an interesting.
And the surprising thing to me was, it was almost even with flat bars to drop bars.
It was actually higher
flat bar by slightly.
But yeah, 60 or 55 to 45 or something like that.
It was very close.
Well, now I'll say this though, their data kind of went back and forth. Some of their data was for like 160 or 180 of the riders, but then they had others that was just 100.
Yeah, they said they only pulled 100, but then he quoted 160.
Right.
It was a little confusing for me.
So I think the pictures and reviews were of 100 rigs, but I think they had data on more.
Yeah.
And I haven't broken down the spreadsheets, but I did one of the first things I did was scroll through their pictures and try to get a count of, Salsa's down to across all their models, they're down towards 15 or 18% of the participants this year, when they used to be 50% or more, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot more boutique brands.
But that said, they're still the biggest single brand, and the Cutthroat is still the most popular single platform.
I think it was more than that, but
no, it was. My first pass was like 15%, and theirs they broke it down to 18% when they broke it out for Salsa, and that was flat bar and drop bar. Now, the one thing where they were off, he talked about there were no dual suspension drop bar bikes, but there were a couple of those Trek checked outs. Is that the one that came out last? That was the one that came out last year.
Entirely certain.
It's a drop bar dual suspension bike. So there were a couple of those in the field, and so their numbers weren't exact. They weren't precise, but I truly expected there to be at least one 32-inch Fargo in there, just from market test purposes, and
18 Salsa,
18%,
13 Specialized. Yeah.
So, okay, so that's okay. And I think it's actually, if you go to the full list, it's actually like 15% Salsa, sort of. So of the 100 pictured ones, 18. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So Specialized is stepping up.
He didn't say Salsa dominated with 18 bikes, and most of those were Cutthroat. Specialized with second with 13.
Right.
So.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's for Salsa, that's a large market share in a universe of bicycles.
Yeah.
But in Tour Divide land, that's actually a diminished market share for them. They never owned it 100% by any stretch of the imagination, but they were the standard for a while.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So
The other highlight for me was Mezcal was the dominant tire.
like 80%.
Yeah, which vindicates what I've been saying for so many years. And I got it from Shannon. Shannon was like, dude, these Mezcals are going to be your new favorite tires. And he was not wrong. They're absolutely 100% my favorite tire. So,
the definitely a lot more electronic drivetrains than I was expecting.
yeah.
That one kind of one area they didn't or wasn't mentioned in the video, and maybe it's in the spreadsheets. Did they talk about tracking devices?
No.
Okay, but they did talk about computers.
Oh, really?
Yep. And
Oh, yeah.
Coros Dura is coming on.
It's been on the market for only a couple of years, and as quickly. Garmin was still the most popular navigation brand with 45 of the 100 units, but Coros now makes up 33% of the sample, followed by Wahoo and a variety of others.
Yeah, so for Coros to outweigh Wahoo already,
Yeah.
but have the single most popular model of any of them,
Yeah.
was pretty strong. Yeah, it was stronger than the 1040, right?
That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was. Garmin as a whole across all their models had more, but as individual, I mean, obviously Coros just has the one model,
Yeah.
but still, that's pretty impressive. And my Wahoo is just barely hanging on. I could justify going to a new one right now, but I think I'm going to wait till it actually shits the bed.
I know our buddy Josh Dean is on a Coros, and he absolutely loves it.
Everyone I know that's on one likes it.
Yeah.
And I guess the biggest thing that was kind of holding it up when it first came out, the firmware and some bugs, it came out a little premature, but they had that fixed within a few months. Then the latest I've heard is the issue is the base maps themselves were less than ideal, which I'm not big on detailed base maps anyway. As long as there's a general map, I'm usually good with it. But now it sounds like their most recent updates updated the base maps as well.
Back to rack, 77%.
70, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I can't say that I disagree with the logic though.
Yeah.
I can't even count how many times I thought I had a perfectly packed, strapped, and balanced seat bag that ended up not being so after a few hours, or having to dig into it in the middle of a ride and trying to get it all repacked and strapped properly and everything like that. That Aero spider rack I've been using on the Tributary has proven to be pretty damn handy, but it's also in a traditional, it's too much bulk and weight in a traditional bike packing environment, I think, for most people. But not everybody's worried about the grams. Not everybody's worried about the grams. But yeah, I understand why Tailfin is so big. Did they break down the brands on the? I think they did, right?
Brands of what?
The rear racks.
Yeah, he did. I'm not seeing.
I know Tailfin was way at the top.
Oh, here we go. 31 folks were using Tailfin, 13 Old Man Mountain, 6 Mica Rat Tail, and a handful were using custom or unknown racks.
Okay. Does I don't even know. Does Old Man Mountain have a carbon rack now, or are they still doing just their traditional?
I don't know. They do make. Yeah, I think they make a carbon strutted, but it still has an aluminum top, I believe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They are following the signs of the time, and they're not just making clunky,
no,
bulky stuff.
They're trying very hard to be relevant in this niche. There's no doubt about that, and I'm sure they will be. Again, I'm still just absolutely shocked that there wasn't at least one 32-inch test bike. I don't understand how Salsa didn't pay somebody to just ride a Fargo out there. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I was surprised. Maybe it's not the right word, because I'm also kind of not surprised if it wasn't a 32. But I really thought that we would see at least one.
I'll be honest with you. That just reinforces. It went to my screensaver.
Hmm.
Well, we'll figure screensaver out next.
Yeah.
It just reinforces to me that we're nowhere near 32s really being out there. Again, except for the Fargo, that first batch, their trial balloon to see if it gets any traction whatsoever. But man, I'm really caught off guard by there not being a single 32-inch in the field.
And I think Neil even mentioned that in the podcast as well. He said that he felt certain that there would be at least 3 or 4 next year,
Sure. There will be definitely something next year.
Yeah.
What kind of baller move would have been for Scott just to go ahead and throw their bike out there? It's like, hey, it's a carbon bike. It's a prototype. It may not make it 200 miles, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Put Robin back out there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sort of thing. It would have been, but man, I gotta give props to Scott and their marketing.
Yeah.
Man, that move at Unbound was baller. There's no doubt about that. Then the next week at Tulsa Tough, did you see that one?
Yeah, the guy won it on a gravel rig.
He won it on his Scott Addict gravel. It was road tires, but they were still 32s.
Yeah.
Holy hell! So to answer the question, can you ride a gravel bike in packs? Tulsa Tough crits.
You totally can.
Yeah, but yeah, and I dug into that. Like I said last week when I said I think Scott's new bike came out last year. It did. Their Addict gravel, which is their race focused gravel, their aero gravel rig that I know takes 50 millimeter. I don't know a whole lot more than that. And that's what I was talking about last week. So Scott launched their new platform last year. So they're several years out from another platform. So they can play with the 32 prototype and try to disrupt the marketing wave of Specialized and things like that. And so I kind of, man, what a move it would have been, and just to have Robin go out there on that bike and just do a couple days on the Tour Divide. They would have gotten so much press on that one. But hey, I understand. Did you see Robin's feedback with Ben Delaney on?
I did not.
We'll talk about it a little bit later, but evidently he was shitting and puking all the way through hours 4 through 8 on his XL.
Wow.
Too.
Imagine what he would have done if he wouldn't have been doing that. Wow.
But, and just stay in the Scott realm. Episode 148, not brought to you by Scott Cycles. Oh, look at that. There, I was making blood on myself. That Scott hardtail rigid.
Why is it called a gravel? That makes no fucking sense.
Oh, is Scott calling it gravel?
Yeah, it's in the name.
Oh, I didn't even. I just looked at the bike and the layout of it. So what bike was it? Do you remember?
I'll pull it out real quick. Just I'll send it to you.
Okay, you did send it to me, and I just looked at the bike. It was flat bar setup. It looked like a rigid MTB to me.
Yeah, it is.
But Scott was calling it gravel. Okay, man.
That's the model name. Where is it? There, here it is. Yeah, Scott Scale Gravel RC.
Scott Scale Gravel RC.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's okay.
It's a mountain bike.
Well, or a flat bar gravel bike, I guess, supposedly.
Yeah. But
it might also fit in. No, Scott Scale's a mountain bike, but they call it Gravel RC, huh?
That's the title name.
I wonder. Well, it was clear from the comments that there were a lot of people that had no idea that there was such thing as a rigid mountain bike.
Yeah, this one guy says back in the day we just called him a rigid.
And I thought, man, I would ride the hell out of that bike. That would be fun as shit. No doubt about it. And I think that would make a great 32-inch platform myself.
Looks fast.
It does. But the comments opened my eyes. It's like, oh my God, I am so out of touch with the current market and the next generation down. That was a little eye-opening for me. And it's like, am I just, so out of touch with what's really going on that it can't be fixed? And I went through a couple of days last week. It was because of that. It's like, man, that clicks with a lot of other stuff I see online. There's this whole, under 40 crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably a pretty good delineator. Under 40 cycling crowd that has no perception of what was going on prior.
Yeah.
They're completely, I'm blaming them for that. And I think that's part of that COVID disconnect I've talked about before. Most of us came into cycling and we kind of eased into it and learned from others. And it was a gradual progression. Not that it was all correct, but
it was a collaborative education.
It was.
Yeah.
And we learned from others and
trial by fire.
Yeah, and a lot of the same mistakes and things like that. And the wave of new riders and the pervasiveness of online information that may or may not be worth a shit.
Especially on turd dogs.
There's just whole next group that has no idea what happened before. Well, going back to, I was touching on the Bonk Brothers earlier. They had one of their episodes a while back. It's probably a year ago now. They had this big debate amongst themselves of was Lance Armstrong really that big a deal? Yeah, they had no concept of the cultural phenomenon that he was. But it makes sense because they were all like 5 years old at the time, right?
But Tiger Woods is the Lance Armstrong of golf, I mean, Tiger Woods did the same thing to cycling that Lance Armstrong did.
Okay. But you've got a current crop of golfers that can't relate to that.
Yeah, well.
It's like you can even throw Michael Jordan out there as the GOAT and people can't relate. No.
Yeah, people want to argue LeBron. They're retarded.
But they don't know.
Yeah.
They weren't in it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I was trying to explain the whole Belko ordeal in baseball to my youngest son, Kieran, who's 20, baseball fanatic, and he's talking about this. Have you been noticing this star pitcher, Jacob Misieriowski?
I have not followed baseball at all this year.
So he's with the Brewers, and on the anniversary of his 1-year debut in the major league, he pitched a near perfect game. He threw 15 strikeouts. His velocity averaged on his fastball was over 100 miles an hour on, I can't remember the number of pitches he threw, but just phenomenal. And then Kieran made this offhand comment like, he's got to be on juice or something. And I go, I'm not entirely against that. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I go, baseball has never been more exciting than when Canseco and McGwire and Sosa were all jacked to the gills, and they were hunting down that home run record. And it was the most exciting time in baseball. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, they're all on steroids. And it was like a Lance Armstrong type thing. Like, yeah, they're doing amazing things. Oh, but they're on drugs. But it made for exciting cycling. It made for exciting baseball. It's hard to argue with the numbers that were being generated during those times. I mean, Lance Armstrong he turned more people on to spectating pro cycling than anybody else, especially from an American standpoint.
That's the key differentiator.
That is the caveat.
That's the big, but that's also what none of the current generation, there's no way for them to relate to that. The term is monoculture.
Yeah.
That we were in the middle of through 2010-ish.
Yeah.
Basically, once Facebook established itself, the monoculture disappeared at that point. And that the Bonk Brothers, it makes sense to me now. It's like, they weren't part of that monoculture. They're not everybody's watching the same TV show every Tuesday night together, Thursday evening.
Yeah.
They're not all going to the same movie on Friday night, opening night sort of thing. Everyone's hearing the same songs on the radio, and everybody can sing the top 10 all of themselves. None of that goes on anymore. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's probably for the best, but that's what we grew up in.
Yeah.
So, the pop culture reference thing, I mean, that's obviously easy out.
Stuff now.
Yeah. There is no pop culture per se.
It's all obscure. But and much to your point and how out of touch I am, this and forgive me, I can't remember his exact name, but Oliver Tree or whatever, the pop guy that just passed away.
Never heard of him until yesterday when I saw his helicopter crash.
Yeah, and Karen was like, "Did you hear about this guy?" And I was like, didn't even know who he was. And then Karen pulled up some of the songs, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know that song.
Okay.
You know? But
I guarantee I won't know any of them.
You would. There's at least one that I guarantee you've heard numerous times.
Okay.
But so it works both ways, you know. But I think what the overarching kind of thought process on this is, it's a shame that most people don't know how they got to where they are because we don't pay the past enough homage.
That's true. That's true with everything.
Sure.
Though, and you know, the adage is history is written by the victor.
Mm-hmm.
So even those who know the past, a lot of times aren't able to share that message.
Yeah.
Because it's diluted by, well, this is what we say now,
right,
whatever that may or may not be. But to kind of take this to that next step, so, you know, we talk about our audience and what we talk about and the things that interest us as niche upon niche upon niche
mm-hmm.
within the cycling industry. The Bonk Brothers revelation to me last week when I was starting to panic that I'm so out of touch. What's even more niche upon niche upon niche is cyclists under 40 years old. There is no market for that at the moment, because they were talking, but they were making inside jokes to themselves. And it was like, well, our demographic is guys 49 and up.
Yeah.
Even for their show.
Yeah.
Even for their show. So, yeah, I realize that they're going to have a younger skewed audience than we will, but even in their own numbers, there is no younger audience, basically.
Well, I think the nerd culture goes deep in people in our age demographic. And so they do tend to get into the weeds about, you know, details and history and stuff. And the younger generation just onto the next flashy thing, you know?
Well, no doubt. And I'm going to keep beating this drum most likely till the day I die. But the cycling industry is just, it could be a growing industry, but their marketing is just so upside down.
Yeah.
They just keep trying to sell higher dollar stuff to the same people over and over. If they just broaden their footprint and got new riders in, and I'm not talking about Nike kids, I'm talking about people that have graduated college, have some sort of professional thing going on, and need something outside their regular work hours and their family routine. Need a hobby, start riding a bike. That needs to be the basic message.
Yeah.
Right there. 25 to 40 years old, starter bikes, help them get started riding gravel, paved trails in their area and things like that should be the focus. And they would have literally millions of new cyclists, of which those millions, thousands would get into racing. And of those thousands, tens of thousands would get into racing and stuff. And of those tens of thousands, thousands would start spending money on their higher dollar items. But you got to build that base. And the whole market is built around just selling more $15,000 bikes to the same people over and over and over.
Yeah. Which is,
it's a recipe for failure as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know? I don't know anything.
I'm trying to find the Scott bike on their site. I don't even.
The
This
Spark?
is bikes on sale. That's not what I want. Bikes. Continue. I'm sorry. See all.
So, I mean, so you're looking at their current inventory or the current lineup, or
Yeah.
what? Okay. So is the Spark hardtail part of their regular lineup?
That's what I'm looking for. Do you think before I click on this, do you think it's going to be classified as a mountain bike?
I think it's going
or
to be
a gravel bike.
I think it's going to be classified as a mountain bike because I remember the Scott Spark being a mountain bike. That's what my decomposing brain remembers, but I could be remembering wrong.
Okay, well, I'm going to click on mountain bikes and see if I find it in here.
Okay.
My internet just slowed way down.
I don't think I had anything to do with that.
The internet? Maybe it's Scott. Everything else was
It could be.
moving really well.
It could be. Obviously, the racing, well, we touched on it little bit when you were talking about.
Just shit.
It's okay. You kind of intrigued me, to be honest with you, when you mentioned that you thought it was a better show when Sosa and McGwire and all those guys were roided up and hitting them out of the park 3 times a night each.
I feel like it's borderline undeniable.
I was the other way. I'm not saying I was in the majority. I'm not implying that at all.
Always going to argue.
I'm always going to be the contrarian, aren't I? But I mean, but I was also the same way with Lane. I mean, it was obvious. It's like performances at those dramatically different levels across such a wide base don't happen without fundamental shift.
Yeah.
And obviously going back to the Occam's razor approach is the most fundamental shift is going to likely be chemically based back in that era.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the mid 80s, all the guys I was hanging out with that were doing the Gold's Gym thing and going from puny to Arnold Schwarzenegger in 4 months, sort of thing. I mean, stupid redneck kids in 1988 were roiding up then. You can only imagine what multi-million-dollar athletes are doing.
Right.
And obviously the cycling culture kind of, I mean, they were in denial. They tried to make it was just a Lance thing for a little bit, and then everybody kept getting popped.
If I remember correctly, the last year that Lance won and they finally stripped him of that title and all the previous titles, I think if I recall correctly, the number was you had to go 19 deep to find someone that had a clean.
It was something like that. And even after that, even once we started, even the years after that, deeper in the field, the names kept coming out. Yeah. So it probably ended up being 40 deep eventually, sort of thing. But I think it was roughly 2011, 2012 when we kind of had our clean era of cycling really kick in.
Yeah, it might have been after that. Because that was when, was it EF was the first team that was like, were they the ones that were touting that they were clean and wanted to be tested at any time? There was some pro peloton crew that was their whole deal was that they were 100% clean. I can't, I'm hazy on it. Surprising things here. That Scottsdale gravel is literally listed under their gravel bikes.
Okay.
The other surprising thing is, what do you think the retail on that bike is?
I didn't look that closely, but it is listed as a gravel bike, huh?
It's clearly a mountain bike to me. I guess we could.
So it's a rigid flat bar,
carbon frame,
carbon fork. Does it say what its tire clearance is?
I can look at that, but
I am going to guess.
It's got 4 piston disc brakes. Why is that a gravel bike? It's crazy to me.
I am going to guess $8,000.
$51.99.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I mean,
it's still expensive.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm looking for tire clearance. It's often difficult to find that.
They do
20 pounds for that bike. It's
And they call it a gravel bike?
Yeah.
I mean, aren't the racy gravel bikes in the 16-pound range right now?
But I'm not seeing. I mean, it comes with.
Again, if they're calling it a gravel bike, I'm shocked. A 20-pound rigid flat bar.
Yeah.
That's a rigid mountain bike there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume it will take 2.4s.
Well, it's spec'd with 2.35s.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah. And it had plenty of clearance from the video I was looking at.
I would rock the hell out of that bike as a do anything bike.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
It looks like it's hard to see where the chain stays.
It's not weight rated for me, I'm sure, but
it's hard to tell where the chain stays meet the bottom bracket, but it looks like you could put a 2.6 on there easy. So, and it's got a flat bar. It seems almost preposterous to me to call it a gravel bike.
Right.
But then again, I guess I'm out of touch, you know?
I would not call that a gravel bike, but maybe we are getting into that realm of,
Maybe Scott's just trying to fuck everybody up and bring more attention to themselves by creating the controversy.
I could applaud them.
I mean,
that's right up my alley.
It's effective, even if it's just a side effect, you know?
I mean, I think there's something to going back to my 32-inch conspiracy theory thing last week. I think there's something to the concept of the multi-platform bike with the drop bar restrictions at Leadville and Little Sugar.
Yeah.
If somebody shows up on the same bike at both gravel and mountain bike events,
Right.
I think that could get some attention too.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
And I don't think it's unlikely.
It will be interesting to see what comes of it. But kind of going back to that Tour de France stuff we were talking about and the end of the Lance drug era. So, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but again, I think it was around 2012. Maybe it was even a year or two after that. But the biggest indicator that the drug thing had kind of actually fallen out of the peloton was, you know, the numbers were decreasing. The times were increasing.
Yeah.
You know, average speeds were going from 32 miles an hour to 29 or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember the specifics, but the data's there.
But now it's back up.
And that started around 2018. All of a sudden, 2017, 2018, it's like all of a sudden the numbers are back up.
That's a big nod to technology, marginal gains, the carbs per hour, the recovery.
And that's exactly what they want you to think.
Sure. But, I mean,
the best mask of whatever the current doping regimen is carbs per hour.
But here's the bigger question. I've had this conversation a couple of times. You know, it's the French, whatever you want to call them, organizers of the Tour de France. They were literally just had a hard on for Lance Armstrong, and they were wanting to find and bust him for anything. And I think it happened around after he won the third or the fourth Tour de France. They were like trying to get him to pop hot piss. And my question is, if it would have been a Frenchman doing it, the focus would have been totally different. They would have been celebrating, look at our countryman, you know?
I don't think it was that black and white. I don't think it was American versus French per se.
100% think it was.
I think it was more along the lines of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Everyone knows everyone's cheating. You've had your turn. It's time for somebody else to get their turn.
So they were trying to intimidate him.
I don't think they were trying to intimidate him. I think it's kind of like it's understood this is how it works.
Mm.
You're only at the top of the heap for basically nobody's going to get more wins than Merckx is basically what it boiled down to. Or whoever. It was Merckx that had 5, right? I can't remember. Somebody had 5, right? And I think that was the nature. It turned into a bigger deal because it was like 3. All right, we'll give you 3. Everybody's happy. The U.S. market is invested. It's a big thing. This is the rising tide scenario. And then the perception, I think, from the organizers was Lance or the team or whoever was involved got selfish. And I think that was the basic animosity that played out over several years. That's just my opinion, obviously. Did it help their case that Lance was American? No, it did not. That didn't buy them any slack. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't dispute that, but I don't think it was that. I don't think it was as basic as American versus French. I think it was more along the lines of you've had your share.
Yeah.
Time to spread the wealth. And they were resistant to that. Again, that's my belief. But the numbers started going back up in 17, 18. And we're also 17, 18, it makes it into the world tour levels. Give it another 5 or 6 years, it makes it to the masters level, the lawyers and dentists on $20,000 bikes that can afford everything, and give it another 2 or 3 years after that, and the prices go down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that carbs per hour are not a performance gain. I think it's a convenient excuse for the drastic gains and improvements that have been made. I'm most concerned, and I've mentioned it before, what are the long-term health repercussions of this? Particularly if you have 20-something, early 30-something-year-old racers that are basically living on sugar water for years at a time.
Well, you remember, like, back in the Lance days, it was kind of quietly discussed, but the whole EPO thing that was going rampant through the pro peloton was taking the lives of young aspiring cyclists, that their heart rate would get so low that they were passing away. These guys would have to get up in the middle of the night and go for a ride just to keep their heart rate up. I mean, it was an epidemic, and it was kind of brushed under the carpet at some point. It wasn't, nobody was like blowing it up and going, oh my God, we've got to put an end to this. That very few people were.
Right.
Because it made for such a spectacle to witness,
I mean, the popularity of cycling made a lot of money for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's always a follow the money scenario.
There was a lot of people that put a lot of money into pro peloton.
No doubt about it.
Not people, corporations.
Yeah.
More accurate.
And I mean, so after the Lance era, that was a shock to the cycling industry system there, because interest in gravel did wane from the newer participants after Lance got popped, and that became such a big deal. But they had done a really good job of growing a very passionate and entrenched N+1 market at that point.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you think Pogačar's on performance enhancing drugs?
I think we're in. I'm not going to say anyone specifically, but if you look at the performance numbers, and I'm not even talking about just at World Tour level, I mean, that's been the rumblings and the highest end of the USA gravel racing scene for a few years is, if you took top 10, you'd be hard pressed to not find a majority that were doing something. And
are they, but they're getting tested, aren't they?
Well, that's the thing. We're into a new realm of PEDs that can't be found, is what it boils down to.
Well, and that's what Lance was doing too, is they were just migrating from what they knew they could detect to something that they knew they couldn't detect.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. In 2017, 2018, that's when the pro peloton numbers started just spiking back up again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 12-speed drivetrains that were doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the latest carbon layup that was doing it.
It wasn't a 10-gear cog in the back.
Yeah.
And a 54 up front.
Right.
But that's also, like, that's why back in the Armstrong days, and even before, I believe, they would always take an A sample and a B sample. And I may be convoluting this in my brain, but they would test that right then or soon thereof against all known PEDs.
Right.
And then they reserved that other one and kept it in a vault or wherever, controlled environment. And then when new performance enhancing drugs would come available or show up on their radar, they would go back and retro test. And that's how Lance ultimately got busted, from what I understand.
But also, that's one of the, again, and if he hadn't the whole time there.
Yeah. And been so disrespectful.
I'm not one that's going to shy away from disrespect.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, if he would have done some mushrooms and burned a little bit of his ego off, he might have been better off.
The B samples were there. Were they utilized? I don't know. But if everybody would have just played by the unspoken rules, they never would have gone to the B samples. That's my point. Yeah. It never would have happened, sort of thing. And we're probably kind of in the middle of that now across everything.
So you're saying
as
you're
well.
forecasting another
I don't know that they'll ever get caught.
dope scandal.
I don't know that they'll ever get caught. I think they're cut. The gains are so overwhelmingly over time. And I'm talking about this. It wasn't that long ago that we couldn't get people to do more than 2 or 3 really big efforts a year.
Yeah.
And because it's like, no, I can do this once and I've shot my wad for 12 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Now these people are doing it back to back to back to back for months on end.
Yeah. Look at Bagacha. I mean, he's a freaking phenom.
Again, I'm not naming, it's the ketones. It's the latest
Yeah.
TRP. It's what's the other one?
I don't even
Starts with a P. I can't. Anyway, I dug into it a little bit because, like I said, I kind of bit my tongue last week. It's like carbs per hour do something, but they're not going to turn people into Wolverine.
No, but I think the thing you're missing in that whole thought process, at least the way I understand it, is if you're fueling properly, you're not going into your reserve tank, so you're not as depleted after your effort.
Right.
So the recovery is a lot, call it easier, better on your body overall.
There are improvements.
Sure.
There are improvements. And that's what, like I said, I dug into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, you rejet your carburetor for, a certain altitude or whatever. Okay. You're going to get a performance gain at that altitude, but you're not going to go from 14-second quarters to 9-second quarters.
Okay. Speaking of which, I just watched Fast and Furious the other night.
Okay.
The first one.
Okay.
Have you watched that recently?
Not recently, but still the best one.
Yeah. But there's so many just cheese dig quotables in there.
Oh,
it's so greatness. And the acting is awful.
It's terrible.
So good. It's kitsch.
It
almost,
is. And it was meant to be. It's not Sharknado level meant to be.
I was just about to say that.
It's not Sharknado level meant to be, but it was meant to be.
I don't think so. I think they really thought they were making a badass movie. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 where they were in on the joke.
No, I mean, maybe the director knew he was doing that, because I definitely listened
I think so.
I listened to the director's commentary on that one. Yeah.
I think it's easy for him to save face and go back and say, "Oh, yeah, we were cheese dicking it."
That was back in the day when the movie would come out. 3 months later, the DVD would come out with the director's commentary. So it's no looking back on it.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. You're going to make me break out.
I was blown away. I didn't realize it was the 25th anniversary of Fast and Furious. I didn't realize it was that old.
Okay.
Speaking of people that don't know where they came from, I mean, it's comical to go watch it now. Comical.
I watched it a couple years ago. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But from that perspective, I knew it was silly.
Paula goes, "Oh, can we watch this?" And I go, "Oh, baby, I would watch this just to hear Vin Diesel's opening tirade against Paul Walker, where he goes, 'You almost had me. You didn't even have your car.'" I love it's so cheese. It's so funny. Sorry, I got us off.
Shiny.
It's so funny.
June 26th, Bear.
Oh.
So you gotta get caught up before then.
Yeah.
You got to get caught up before, because, man, I need to hear your opinion before we roll into the next season.
Okay. I'll watch it. I'll watch it tonight.
I got to hear it. Man, where did we leave off? We were talking about bike.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Well,
I'm just cracking up.
Well, let's, now that, what the hell? We're in pop culture. I am finally getting caught up on Better Call Saul. Were you ever into Better Call Saul?
I watched all of Breaking Bad, and I think I watched like the first season or 2. How many seasons of Better Call Saul?
There's 6.
Yeah,
there are 6, and that's part of why I got away. I think I kind of got into it through the first 2 seasons.
Same.
But I was the same way with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was a show. It's like, can't get stuck waiting a week at a time for 10 years for this thing. I'm going to just have to wait till it's done and go through it.
That's how I was with Lost. That's why I finally quit watching Lost. And it just, like they were recycling the same material.
So bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm 3/4 of the way through season 4 of Better Call Saul. So
Bob Odenkirk is so good, though.
Yeah.
He's a very underrated actor in a lot of realms. That movie that he did, Nobody, was very good. Nobody 2 kind of seemed like they just shuffled the script and kind of changed the scenery, but it was still enjoyable. But he's so good. Sorry.
No, all good. All good.
Speaking of Breaking Bad, we were watching. My older kid is stuck on The King of Queens with Kevin James. I can't remember when that show came out. It was a sitcom.
Yeah, I remember.
We watched 2 episodes last night, and lo and behold, who was the guest star? Bryan Cranston.
Okay.
The main character from Breaking Bad. Well, I don't even think he was anybody back then.
Yeah, he was.
During King of Queens.
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Malcolm in the Middle.
No, this was before Malcolm in the
No, it
Middle.
wasn't. They were about the same time.
I don't think you're right.
All right, you look it up. Let's and
the podcast that's only about bikes.
Only about bicycles and movies and TV
and multicam
and
sitcoms.
Food. I'm gonna say Malcolm in the Middle was even out before King of Queens, but I could be wrong. I think they were definitely running at the same time.
Okay. Let me look.
Hey, Lucy. I also remember him. I remember him from Seinfeld back in the day as well. He was one of those character actors. Wasn't quite a putty, but he was there more than once.
Malcolm in the Middle was 2000 to 2.
Okay.
Just remember that.
2000 to 2006.
And then let's see.
King of Queens.
King of Queens. You might be right. I'm going to have to relent on this. Oh, 98 to 2000.
So the same time.
Yeah, but so we're still on season 1.
Okay.
So that would have been in 98.
Okay. I misunderstood what you said, that he was, all right. So in that season, maybe he was a nobody.
Yeah.
It's possible. But he was around. He was established. People knew who he was, and he had a good reputation in the industry, sort of thing. But he wasn't a break. Well, even when he did, Vince Gilligan had to fight to get him onto Breaking Bad because nobody wanted him because all they saw was the dad from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. Huh. Anyways, rabbit holes.
I know. Well, let's keep going down. So the other one on the Better Call Saul, his partner, girlfriend, or whatever, Kim on the show. That's what's her name? The one from Pluribus as well, and she is just outstanding in both of them.
She's in Pluribus?
Yeah, she's the main character.
His wife from Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh.
Better Call Saul.
Oh.
Saul's wife or girlfriend, partner, whatever, Kim, in Better Call Saul. And that's how she got the part in Pluribus.
Yeah, because it's the same people.
Yeah, it's Vince Gilligan.
Yeah. Speaking of, is there going to be another season of Pluribus?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
It's my understanding.
I hope so. That was one of the best shows I've watched in I can't even tell you how long.
I want to see where it goes. There's no doubt about that.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right. Let's talk about bicycles again.
Rhea Seehorn.
That's it.
Yeah.
Rhea Seehorn. Well, maybe we're done with bicycles. Maybe we should do
Bikes are dead.
They are not dead. Oh, there's your hawk.
Yeah. They've been flying around. So their nest is right here in this tree.
So I'm assuming that's a parent or the little.
I think those are Jews.
Those are the Jews are that big?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They've been doing test flights and getting further and further from the nest.
Very cool. Very cool.
But their nest is right there in the top of that tree.
Yep. I remember those fancy binoculars you showed me last week.
And I've been just geeking out so hard.
Yeah, it's running like a guinea hen. So that's a juvenile.
Yeah.
That's a juvenile.
Lucy, you don't want anything to do with that.
No.
I'll tell you this, the rabbit population has been decimated in my yards. They have been living and sustaining off of a diet of what seems, to my observation, exclusively rabbits.
And probably your copperheads will be down too.
Oh, yeah. I told you I found half of a copperhead in the
No,
yard.
you didn't tell me.
It's the only copperhead I've seen this season.
Yep.
And only the back half of it was present.
Yep.
Which was so weird because it literally looks like somebody just took scissors and cut it in half.
It's basically what they did.
There was nothing left of the front half, and the whole rear end was untouched, it seemed. So it was wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the hawks are good for taking care of snakes.
Yep. Not mad about that.
I understand.
Let nature.
Completely. I am going to go back to bikes because I do want to.
We're losing our audience.
We've lost them already. That's fine.
Because we're 8 minutes in.
Hey. Cranes.
Yeah. We have all the
all the wildlife.
There's kites running around. Awesome.
USA Trail update.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Rick Ashton, Tour Divide veteran, around 80 years old.
Oh, wow.
Just rescouted the Florida section of the USA Trail.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do Florida and Georgia, and he decided it's too damn hot. So
Yeah.
he's going to wait
I
until.
don't blame him.
It's like, I was shocked when he was saying he was going to do it in June to begin with. It's like, okay. But Florida, I verified it in person. Troy Hopwood rode almost all of it. I think he missed the very last part of it so he could get to the airport earlier. But then Rick gave me one more piece of feedback, and Florida is now, it's final.
Done and dusted.
Florida is done and dusted. I want to get Georgia done too. I may do that on the motorcycle because.
Oh, we're not selling the motorcycle.
No. Why would we be selling the motorcycle? The only thing I love more than my motorcycle at the moment is my van.
What about your wife?
Well, she's in Florida. So when she gets back.
So it's a proximity thing?
Hey, what can I play with today? You know?
I'm not going to let you get into more trouble about that. There was something else I was going to say about bike other than they're awesome. There's no news. There's no industry news. There's no announcements. Pond Bike is closing Almelo, Netherlands production site at the end of 2027, which seems crazy to put a flag in the sand that far out and say, hey, we're going to keep producing out of this location through the end of 2026 and 2027, and then we're going to close it down. Seems interesting to me, but
there's a reason for that. Some contract somewhere that stipulates something like that.
This is newsworthy because I think this brand that we first learned about after our buddy DJ Caleb came back from Sea Otter, X-Lab,
they're stirring up shit.
Yep, the in-house performance brand of the world's largest bike maker, XDS, today announced it is launching with Sports Basement, the California-based outdoor retailer known for its community-first culture, service expertise, and deep, loyal customer loyalty. Deep, local customer loyalty. But I think X-Labs is a brand that is going to become, unless something crazy happens, they are going to be a big name in cycling over the next year or two. Just because of their price points and their quality that they're bringing to the market, they're really going to shake things up from a retail perspective. Not only that, they're offering, along with the price point, they seem to be at the cutting edge of all the development, such as tire size, geometry, accommodating what people seem to be looking for in bikes, and like I said, coming at an incredible price point. So we'll see, but
I still say the vast majority of the bicycle marketplace looks for what they're told to look for, and they don't have a discerning eye, for lack of a better. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
The lack of knowledge is absolutely astounding. I don't expect everybody to be a bicycle encyclopedia. I'm not putting it out there like that.
Yeah.
But to just not understand the most fundamental aspects of why somebody would even consider riding a titanium bike.
I mean, look at that bike on the right. How sexy is that? Look at the price.
I get
It's
it.
astounding.
At the moment, it is.
Yeah.
But
nobody else is doing that. That's what I'm saying.
at the moment,
Right.
they're not.
Yeah.
Now, are they going to drag everybody down to that price point? Doubtful, but will prices backtrack? Likely. And the real question is, how much do their prices go up in 2 or 3 years?
Competition levels the market, and this is a seemingly nobody that came out of nowhere and is throwing out quality, what appears to be quality, well-spec'd bikes at a ridiculous price.
Okay, so it's like Chinese electric vehicles. They're subsidized by the country. So they're not selling them in the United States because they're tariffed out, but in Europe, what are they, the BDYs or whatever, they're taking over the whole electrical car market there. And
Yeah.
because the Chinese government is subsidizing 50% of the value. So that's how they can sell a $60,000 electric car for $30,000.
Yeah.
Same with the bicycle sort of thing. So and I'm not knocking it. I'm just, it's not
Forever the contrary.
it's not a level playing field is all. It's if it were easy to put out $3,000 highly spec bikes, there would be people doing it.
Well, I think, and I'm not basing this off of any facts, I'm just speculating, but I think what we're seeing, let's talk about the carbon rim market real quick, because I think this is a snapshot of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I sent you a video a year and a half, maybe ago, of a guy touring a carbon rim manufacturer in China that was cleaner than any hospital I've ever visited.
I remember that.
And in that conversation, I think the most enlightening thing that was discussed is that one manufacturer manufactures wheels for, I think he said 20 different companies.
Correct.
And so what you have, and I'm not accusing envy of this, but you have carbon rim manufacturers that are having someone like this company produce their rims, and then they're putting their sticker on it and they're charging a premium for them.
Right.
Call it $800, $900 a hoop or something outrageous. And then you have other companies that are taking them straight from the manufacturer and selling them, like Nexty hoops you can get for somewhere around $200 a hoop. Same rim, just doesn't have the prestige, the AKC, the pedigree. Well, I think what's happening is in China, where the majority of carbon manufacture is taking place, more specifically Taiwan, there's a lot of that going on as well, where there's a bunch of manufacturers that are producing bikes for multiple corporations out of the same factory, and there's some that are just not getting upcharged, not getting marked up, not getting stamped with some high price logo on it, and they're selling them for a premium price. Same product, same quality, everything. They're just not abusing the customer as much, you know?
I'm sorry. Is X-Lab Taiwanese or are they Chinese? I thought they were Chinese.
Is it not the same thing?
No, they are
Is
most
it against
assuredly.
the law to say that?
Well, I'm saying they're completely different things. It's like saying is the United States Canada or is the United States Mexico? They're all North America, but they're completely
I
different.
don't even know how I would figure that out.
Just
You Google?
Google X-Labs country of origin. I thought they were Chinese. If they're Taiwanese, that's a different equation.
China.
Yeah.
Shenzhen.
Try to get up there. Soaring pretty good, but he just can't get up. Just can't get up. I can relate, buddy.
Calm down.
Okay. Again, Taiwan, China, those are two totally different things there.
But both big producers.
Understood. But if okay, let's say hypothetically, well, you had mentioned envy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say hypothetically, the United States all of a sudden wants envy to be the biggest wheel producer in the world.
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say, all right, we're going to build your new facility for you. You don't owe a dime on it. We're going to buy all your raw materials from you. And U.S. government's doing all that for you. You just go out there and grab all the market you can. Well, if all your costs are covered, anybody can sell at a cheap price, right?
Yeah. Well, this says it is the consumer-facing bike line owned and manufactured by XDS, the world's largest carbon fiber bicycle manufacturer. So that makes sense. They're making everybody's stuff, you know.
I don't think that.
So they're tooling and everything.
I don't think that's the same one that's making. When you're saying everybody, it's the world's largest, but it's not. It's not the guy that they're not the guys that are making the Treks and the Giants and they're making all the other brands that are at that mass production level that I was talking about. That's the difference between China and Taiwan there. When it's the world's largest producers, again, it's like BDY being the world's largest producer of electric cars. We don't have them here, so we don't even know what they are. Just being in China makes you the world. If you're just selling in China, you're probably the world's largest producer because their population base is so big. That's my guess. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it's not the same as, you know, supposedly Giant makes most of the top name carbon frames out there that we know, but that's not going to be the same as the company that's making the most frames across the world, because there's a lot of brands we've never even heard of that are in the Middle East, that are in China, that are in Russia, and whatever else sort of thing. The brands we know are, again, a drop in the bucket of the overall bicycle market around the world. And that's, obviously our e-bike talk is subdued since we started following the squirrel of 32-inch bikes. But
the flashlight shifted.
The reality is, I mean, e-bikes are still the biggest growth market in the bicycle industry and the platform across the board. But it's not $5,000 and $6,000 EMTBs with mid-mount motors. It's $1,200, full throttle bikes that don't even have pedal assist,
right? Sort
of thing. So that's what's going to be interesting, is to see how the bicycle market does evolve over the next 10 to 20 years. At some point, do we need to get you a signal booster out here or something?
No, it's okay. I work better without a computer. No, I think it's, trying to think of the right way to say this. I'm in my thought process, it's a company like XDS, all their tooling and forms and research is all funded by a lot of corporations. And now that they've amassed all the skills and proven all of, the technologies and, undeniably lifted technologies off of companies that paid them to develop stuff, now they're just creating a side company and funneling that same technology and everything that was funded by other people. So therefore they don't have as much skin in the game.
Oh, I think their R&D was definitely funded by other people and other companies. And they're not out there, figuring out a new way to skin the cat, so to speak.
Right.
So they're just leaning on other people's technology. But then they have the production facilities to maximize the profit off of that. But it's still primarily why you see a $3,000 bike as opposed to a $5,000 bike is because it's subsidized by the government. And that's just the way the China economy model's been working for decades now.
Yeah.
That's how it functions. They've
got a road bike that the frame weighs 540 grams. That's just insane. That's 55 grams less than the S-Works Ethos 2. It's pretty insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think they're going to be, X-Labs has a Tour de France. Not that they're the title sponsor.
They do. They have a team.
Yeah.
They do have a team. Yeah, I can't remember.
Astana.
Okay.
XDS Astana. So they are the title sponsor.
And when does the tour kick off?
It's usually July 7th-ish. Let me see.
May have to watch it this year. I haven't watched it for the past couple.
Surprise.
I started getting the itch last week to try to put together the stage race for the Rat again, but
Oh, it starts on July 4th.
okay, it's usually, I thought it was usually 4th of July if it was a weekend.
Yeah. Speaking of 4th of July and the 250th anniversary of this beautiful country, did you watch any of the spectacle last night, the UFC? No, at the White House?
Oh, that was last night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How'd that go?
It was very well done.
Okay.
It was surprisingly top quality production. So
Okay.
it was interesting. But it was very reminiscent of, what's the movie? Brondo?
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. It looked like a Simpsons prediction of, we're in a simulation.
It makes no sense to me, and I'm not getting political. It makes no sense to me. I'll just leave it at that.
I think it's a major distraction. That's all I'll say. And I was guilty of being distracted by it, so
There you go.
I'm a sheeple.
There you go. Well, what was the other one a couple weeks ago? They had the enhanced games or whatever that was.
I didn't see a lot of coverage of that, surprisingly.
Well, evidently that one shit the bed big time.
Yeah.
But that also kind of goes towards my current conspiracy theory is, guys that are juicing with traditional stuff can't keep up with folks that are juicing with the current stuff.
Oh.
Anyway, so there were no I think there was one record broken was all it was.
Well, that's like, you remember Icarus. You watched Icarus, right?
So long ago, I think I watched that pre-concussion, so I remember it being there. I don't remember any detail.
Well, so basically he raced
He juiced himself up
for a year and actually performed worse than he had the previous year.
Okay.
So it's pretty, but that whole movie was, the beautiful thing about it was, or documentary, was it started as something and turned into something else completely different.
And a squirrel? There's something crawling, or
This is going to become a wild show.
Leonard's barking at something. It's
a hawk.
Is that one of the hawks in the grass laying there?
No, I don't know what that is. Probably a maned rabbit. So Leonard got a hold of, when we pulled up yesterday, there was 2 hawks in the yard, and they flew off when we got out of the car, and then I took Leonard.
Paul. It is one of the hawks, I think. Maybe.
No, it's armadillo.
Is that what it is? Okay.
It's like a nature show in my yard. We've had foxes.
All right. Armadillo safe. Hawk's not going to get an armadillo.
No, they're armored. But
well, I was like, man, maybe we're going to see the hawk get something here. I was thinking maybe I thought maybe it was a big old squirrel at first, but
now there's a whole family of armadillos that's living in the brush back there on the other side of the tree house.
Gotcha.
But so we pulled up yesterday. There was 2 hawks, and it was apparent they were eating on something. When we got out of the car, they flew off, and I totally forgot I'm walking Leonard, and he reaches down and grabs something, and I look, and it looks like a stick in his mouth. So I keep walking him, and then I notice that it's rabbit feet sticking out of his mouth, and I'm like, no, drop, and it's the whole back half of a rabbit. So I grab his jaw, and of course he's already tasted it, so he does not want to let it go.
Sure.
I finally get him to drop it, and he immediately lunges, almost pulls me over, and grabs it again. So I wrestle it away from him again. I make sure to get him away. He, once again, almost pulls me over, gets it, and immediately just and gobbled it up. Yeah. And I'm like, goodness. So there's rabbit carnage everywhere.
There is. There is that. And that's one thing. If you're ever preparing rabbit or frog's legs for a fam dinner and I'm signed up for it, let me know. I'm not. I'll defer to another day.
Frog legs are so underrated, man.
No. Don't do the frog legs, and I really do not like rabbit either.
Huh.
But
when rabbit's prepared right, so good. And I'm not talking about field rabbit. I'm talking about farm raised rabbit.
I get that. But I get that. So you had a dinner this past weekend, right?
I did.
How'd that go?
Literally no hyperbole here, probably the best menu I've ever executed.
Oh,
And even had that comment from regulars.
okay.
Like, I'm paraphrasing, but they were like, it's been so awesome to just see you get better and better and better.
So give me the elevator pitch of the menu this time around.
So it was 95 degrees.
Right.
So I debuted a new drink that I stole from Still Austin, the cold fashioned.
Okay.
So it's a blender drink. So it was a frozen old fashioned, like a icy.
I'm into it.
It was good. Then we started with a cold cantaloupe soup with the toasted black peppercorn sour cream and caramelized dehydrated leeks.
Okay.
So good. So underrated, so good. Course 2, shaved fennel, navel orange segments, homemade dressing, arugula, Italian parsley, burrata. Course 3, lychee, like a play on a leche de tigre sauce. So it's basically a juice that's made with a bunch of aromatics, but ginger and celery, and then you just strain it and get the juice that goes on the base of the plate. Shaved, lightly cured tuna with a Thai basil oil that came from my Thai basil plants, and then a little bit of green onion frills, kumquat slice, and a red jalapeno shaved. And then course 3, we did a Mexican style braised short rib tostada on a homemade blue corn tortilla with crema, homemade white peach salsa, and a little Mexican crumbling cheese, fresco cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Course 3, I did a homemade.
You said course 3 times.
Oh,
now.
that was course 4. Then I did a course 5. We did a duck egg pasta linguine with homemade Italian sausage and a very simple heirloom tomato sauce. Sounds heavy, was a super light pasta dish. Course 6 was a 53-day aged, dry aged ribeye with smoked blue cheese mashed potatoes. Course 7, I did a roasted banana white chocolate saffron budino with some shaved dark chocolate, Dominican dark chocolate, and a touch of sea salt. Course 7, I did I can't say this word, a tufalo mango,
Okay.
creme brulee. And then course 9, I did a brown butter frozen custard with a white donut peach Foster. So basically caramelized peaches. It was a banger menu.
Sounds like.
Especially for 95 degrees.
Yes.
And all the summer flavors.
Yes.
And it was good stuff. Planning on executing that same menu for this coming weekend. Because I have no repeat customers. I mean, nobody's going to come back to back, So
You want me to edit that out or leave it in?
I don't care.
Okay.
Maybe it'll make people sign up. I still have 6 spots at the time. Yeah. In fact, I
Maybe I'll join.
need to promote.
Maybe. See how it goes.
It's worth it.
It is. It
Worth it.
is. Pretty sure my wife would kick my ass if I showed up without her, though.
We could edit that out. Turn off your tracking device.
I'm going to try to put together another pop-up ride for next weekend.
Yeah. We've got more rain coming in from what I understand.
I mean, I'm sure we will. We're probably the lake's going to go under now that I've scheduled another event out at North Shore. So that's almost a guarantee.
Rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It looks like.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to try to do a pop-up ride on the Dallas levees, but those get mucky. So maybe we'll go back to Fort Worth again next weekend if it does rain like that. We'll see. Or maybe it's an opportunity to take the motorcycle somewhere and do some scouting.
Speaking of motorcycle, I still have your boxes in my garage.
I know you do. Are they taking up space?
I mean, my garage is a clusterfuck anyways.
Understood.
It's just one more layer. But I'm happy to drill some holes in them.
I appreciate that, and at some point we will.
Yeah.
I'm getting by with the soft cases at the moment, and learning to get off. I'm concerned those big hard cases will be very difficult for me to
Get on and off the bike.
get on and off in the soft terrain
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Makes sense.
Um,
There's a big, and I'm so out of touch with the motorcycle community, especially the backcountry endurance or whatever you want to call it,
adventure riding.
adventure riding. But from my understanding, there's a big division over hard cases and soft cases, especially if you lay down your bike. From what I understand, the hard cases are a detriment, but I don't know.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, there's two camps there.
Yeah, the hard cases, if you lay down the bike on a hard case, basically you've trashed the hard case at that
Yeah.
point, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So it's more expensive, but it's also gonna, if you really lay it down on the hard case is more likely to actually save the bike and your body,
Yeah.
supposedly. But it's like anything else. The vast majority of times the bike goes down, it's stupid low speed stuff,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah. Lose your balance, lose your traction.
Yeah, just off camber with the forks turned the wrong way at the wrong time, sort of thing. So
When in doubt, gas it out. Then you won't have low speed wrecks.
sometimes
Turn that low speed wreck into a high speed wreck. Have some balls. Be a man.
just send it. Just send it.
I think that's all I got, man.
I think it's all I got. I think we ran out of steam about 20 minutes ago.
I'm
realistically.
excited to see what happens in the Tour Divide. I'm always excited to see what happens in the Tour de France. I'm really surprised that there's not more hoopla and hype leading up to the Tour de France, but I also think that that's partly because the majority of people have resolved their selves to the fact that it's going to be a race between two people.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think we're on the U.S. market side of things
Sure.
as well. Euros are probably going batshit crazy right now
Yeah.
going into it, I guess, or maybe they're World Cup focused. I don't know. I haven't followed any of that. But I mean,
There is a kid that they're highlighting, say, watch out for, which always excites me. Let me get his name real quick because I meant to mention that earlier. My computer will compute.
you're too far from your hotspot.
I don't think so.
I bet you are.
It was working fine. It's been very spotty, so I guess I shouldn't say it was working fine. Loading, thinking.
All right, remind me of that next time we do the Vans.
19-year-old sensation Paul, can't say his name, Seixas, Seixas.
Country of origin.
Don't know.
Okay.
But it's basically going to be a race between Pogačar and Vindigo. So,
Most likely.
yeah. But we'll see. I still don't see.
I mean,
Evenepoel obviously is going to be a contender too. It's going to be fun to watch, period.
I mean the reality is the U.S. bicycle market needs another Lance. Is ultimately
So what you're saying is put doping back in road cycling? Or you're saying it's already there?
I think it's in all levels of cycling.
Yeah.
I think it's in all levels of cycling.
So when is finished, are we going to start piss testing?
The piss tests don't accomplish anything right now. That's my point.
Oh.
That's why everybody's reinforcing how great carbs. And I'm talking the bike manufacturers, the nutrition companies, the whole industry. Oh yeah, carbs per hour. That's what makes everybody fast.
Yeah.
That's the marginal gains as opposed to marginal gains.
So maybe I'm not supposed to ask this question, but does Lifetime Grand Prix, did they do any kind of testing?
Yes, but
So
again,
how is that structured?
I don't know the specifics of it, and it just came on last year. They started doing it because
Like Keegan Swinson wins a race. Does he immediately go to?
I don't know.
area
I don't know what the protocols are.
Because that was the quiet rumor that nobody discussed when gravel racing became a huge draw for professional level athletes. is that they weren't doing the rigorous testing in gravel that they were in road.
That was,
but the purses weren't as high, so there was a trade-off. You could be somebody in the gravel world.
So that was again, you don't get common knowledge mixed up with marketing speak. So that was the UCI pitch. That was them trying to diminish the value of the Lifetime Grand Prix. They're not properly regulated.
No, this was pre-Lifetime Grand Prix.
Okay.
I'm talking.
Okay, but that was used. Okay, let's go back to 2017, 2018 when gravel started taking off huge. Yeah, that's what USAC was saying. That's what UCI. We can't have these spinistries out there. Putting on big events. That we can't. They're going to kill people. They have no safety. Everyone's going to be cheating there. They're not going to have course marshals. Everyone's going to be cutting course because they don't have any drug testing. So everybody's the only people that are going to be on the podiums. There are going to be a bunch of druggies. That was the marketing speak they were putting out at that time to diminish the independent events that were out there.
A subterfuge.
Well, I mean, they had to keep their audience. And that, 2018 to 2019, we had a lot of roadies that were moving over to gravel, and the ones that weren't, it was the same as the old schoolers that weren't going to go disc brakes when everybody started going disc brakes. It's like, you don't have to have disc brakes. It's like, you can't do that. You can't put on an official event with a cash purse unless you have 18 officials and all this other stuff going on. It just can't be done. And we're showing them every week. Yeah, it can be done. And I'm paying 10 times the highest person what you guys do, sort of thing. That was the pushback then. Then it evolved when talent started going into the higher levels of U.S. gravel racing with the Grand Prix and everything like that. Then the UCI started going, hey, that's just those amateurs over there. That's not real racing. We do real racing. You got to have the drug testing. And what is it, WADA or whatever? Anyway.
USADA?
Maybe. I can't remember what that. The point is, none of it matters anymore because all the stuff that's going on now, there is no actual testing for it. Basically what it boils down to.
Well, I mean, they're all...
Because all the new stuff was built to not be testable.
Well, the testing's always a couple of years behind the technology.
And the technology is going to be, and they're going to know when the tests come out and that's what happened during the Lance era as well.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The guys that were creating the tests were the ones that were creating the drugs to begin with. So they knew what was coming. So they knew how to beat it.
And we didn't even talk about motor doping.
I haven't seen the evidence yet. I'm not saying it's not out there, but the case needs to be made for me to think it's a big deal, a prevalent thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if it were prevalent.
Well,
if the evidence dropped tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I do think that is a line that, and I could be completely mistaken. I do think that's a line that the field wouldn't let it be crossed.
I would hope not. And I'm not justifying doping at all, like blood doping, performance enhancing drugs. But at some point when you get to a certain level and you've done everything you can possibly do, and you realize that the guys that are your contemporaries are all doping, you either stand on your pride and morals and go, well, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to relegate myself to being a mid-pack finisher, or you go, fuck it, I got to do it. Everybody else is doing it. I understand that thought process. I don't advocate it, but motor doping to me is just a whole nother level of fuck these guys, I'm going to win at all costs.
Right. Well, and
those people should be exiled from cycling
again
if they are busted.
And I guess that's what I'm getting at. It wouldn't. That's why you had to go 20 deep to find somebody that couldn't be popped for drugs back in the Lance era.
Right.
Because you couldn't It's impossible to race at those levels unless you are doping. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And that's what I said back in 2003, 2004 when Lance was coming on strong.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't real. There's no way this is real.
Yeah.
And we're there again.
Yeah.
The performances that are happening I'm obviously at World Tour levels, obviously at Lifetime Grand Prix levels, obviously at Unbound XL levels, obviously at local Masters races, probably obviously at DFW Summer Series.
You think it's just like TRT? Or you
TRT's part of it, the ketones are part of it, and
the ketones aren't illegal.
Understood, it's still chemical enhancement. And, well,
it's just a different fueling philosophy.
At what point does a supplement should it be deemed illegal? At what point?
And I don't know. That's a tough little gray area right there.
No, ultimately they're all supplements.
Yeah.
Okay, EPO not, but
Right. I mean, you're talking EPO for audience members that don't know. You're actually, they call it blood doping because you're pulling out blood and putting back in oxygen-rich blood to aid in recovery and everything else.
So like the CO2 rebreathers and the CO2 training,
hyperbaric chambers, like
all of it. It's at what point is it an unfair advantage? So
is cost a consideration?
I don't know.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Availability to the public?
I don't know where the lines are drawn. So
I'm stuck on the ketones thing real quick because like ketones, those are readily available. You can order them through the mail.
Steroids are readily available. And
no, ketones are marketed. And I mean, think about ketones are as readily available as like a 5-hour energy, which is,
I understand that. THC is readily available.
I don't know. Who do you know? I'm just kidding. But
I can go down to those.
but that's TA or whatever the bullshit is. But I'm saying ketones are widely accepted. It's not like, I don't think anybody thinks it's a performance enhancing drug. It's just,
where they're being utilized is.
Really?
Yeah, and they're massive overdosing of ketones. And
what do you mean overdosing?
Well beyond recommended allowances.
Oh.
It's unknown what the health implications are for things like this. And ultimately, it's probably going to destroy livers and stuff like that 20 years down the road is what it boils down to. I'm saying, yes, ketones are prevalent in the mix now, and the way they're being utilized. Again, the carbon dioxide rebreathing, the carbon monoxide stuff, and things like that.
I don't know anything about carbon monoxide rebreathing.
These are all things that were not illegal that now are because it was, this is what, because there's not a rule against it, we can do it until there is a rule against it, sort of thing. There are things that I guess maybe technically aren't illegal yet, or they're not illegal because they can't be tested for, I guess might be the...
Like what?
Again, the overuse of the ketones, the current TRT, testosterone replacement.
Detectable.
My understanding is there's new versions of it that basically don't even linger for more than 6 hours now.
Yeah, but you're still boosting your overall testosterone levels.
I'm not a doper.
I'm not either.
I started dipping my toe into it after our conversation last week because the generalities of the belief is that it's pervasive again. I didn't know what the details of how it's being accomplished are. And the reality is, even in the Lance era, we didn't know the realities of how it was being accomplished till 10, 15 years after that.
Yeah, it was just speculation.
Well, people that were doing it knew exactly what it was, but it didn't become common knowledge until 10 or 15 years down the road. And that's
the worst thing to me that Lance did to cycling is now when we see a guy like Pogačar win the Tour de France handily, like almost uncontested. Your first line of thinking is, I wonder what drugs he's on,
Completely justified.
I mean, I remember maybe it was 2008 when Floyd Landis rode off the front of the peloton in one of the Alpes d'Huez stages and just annihilated the entire field.
After looking like absolute shit the day before.
Yes. And it was, at least in our group that was watching it, immediately everybody went, he's on drugs.
Yep.
I mean, it was, and lo and behold, he was.
Right.
You know, but that's probably the best thing Lance did was put millions of more eyes on professional level road cycling. The worst thing he did was put doubt in everybody else's performance that came after him. That was, you know, a spectacular performance.
And ultimately that's, you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, why were they so anti-Lance in Europe?
Mm-hmm.
Again, they were like, you're just going to create too much attention to this. Everybody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Everybody
didn't know.
Everybody in the racing community
Yeah.
knew what was going on at the highest levels of World Tour racing. They all knew what was going on.
But it was like a quiet
It was
known.
It was understood. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're
Yeah.
all on the same. And
It's like Mr. Olympia back in the 70s and 80s.
okay.
Yeah.
And Lance took advantage of
Yeah.
that situation. That was the perception
He got too boisterous.
from the European side. You're
Yeah.
getting greedy. You're
Yeah.
getting selfish.
Yeah.
And, you know, because we have raised the tide for everyone here. We don't want to shit in our own yard,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's like Sosa and McGwire and
they did the
Seiko.
same thing.
Yeah. They were like, oh, we can just start jacking the ball at will. Let's just turn this into a, you know, they just pushed the envelope as well, and it garnered too much attention. That's
Right.
what you're saying.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good litmus test, to be perfectly honest with you. When there is the attention of, wow, this is superhuman performance,
It probably is.
it probably is.
Yeah. Well,
Or you can do it the old-fashioned way.
ride your bike.
Just go ride your bike.
Yeah. That's why I'm a back of the pack finisher, because I don't do performance enhancing drugs.
Shall we?
Let's go.